Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode the one that comes after 40,000 if you remove most of the numbers.
41.
41.
41.
That's
Hooray.
The next one's very nerdy, isn't it?
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it.
Yes, we are in an amazing piece of space-time engineering in the same room.
Woo-hoo. You won the podcast lottery, listeners. I don't know, something like that. So, how are you, dear?
I am dead.
Liar. How are you for real?
Very dead.
No, you're not. You guys, she's lying. She's not.
Have you
dead.
taken my pulse?
Hold on. Hold still.
See, I'm dead.
You're not dead. So we have been Christmasing and holidaying it up.
Yeah, I came over to visit for that wonderful special time of year, you know, the 23rd of December, which is a wonderful day. And then I just sort of hung around for that Christmassy stupid thing, and then I'm going to be there for that really important day, you know, the 2nd of January.
Magfest.
And then afterwards there's that Magfest thing.
You got presents.
I got presents because it was the 23rd of December.
You got Christmas presents. Presents.
Christmas? I am confused by this.
I got you horrible movies because I love you.
You watched several of them with me.
I did, and we're going to talk about it.
And these aren't even horrible movies I wanted. They weren't even horrible movies I'd requested.
Well,
you're just like, hello, here's horrible movies.
I found them.
Yeah, I know, and they were amusing, but it's usually when it comes to horrible movies you get me, it's ones that you'd never heard of, but unless I told you. In this one, it's a case of, I found these, and I think these be great. There you go. You get to watch horrible movies.
Christmas!
You see? This is, for once, it's not me doing it to myself.
Yeah, well, but some of the DVDs that I got you were horrible movies that were on your Amazon wish list.
Some of them were, yeah.
I don't know why I laughed about that. But yeah, so we're going to be at Magfest. I'm pretty sure this will go up before Magfest.
I really hope so, because after Magfest there's supposed to be some sort of an announcement.
A special announcement?
Yes, that we're keeping secret until that time after the fest that is Mag.
Yeah.
It involves space.
And time.
Or it might not. Depending.
Well, everything involves time, technically. Wouldn't it be great if it was like, oh, you got promoted to being in charge of Doctor Who? That wouldn't ever happen, though.
It's very, very unlikely. Although, first thing I would do would be, Peter Capaldi, you're very good, but, you know, I'd rather have Alexander Siddig.
They could kind of get in trouble for that.
Depends how long his contract is.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
You gotta be there for 12 days? Okay. I'll make every single episode you do a multi-doctor story with Sylvester McCoy or Colin Baker.
Yay. Colin Baker would be like, but I have plans. No, you don't. Not anymore. So, if my memory serves me correctly, the word from last week was HMO. Now, did you know what it meant before I defined it for you?
It wasn't last week, it was like ages ago.
Last week.
Was it last week?
Last week.
You're really, really stretching the definition of the word week.
Thursday last.
HMO was one of these stupid American things to justify not giving people health care all the time.
Well, no, it's a certain kind of health plan.
Which you have in America because you're all crazy.
Well, we're not. We just live here. It's legislatures that are crazy.
Crazy.
You make it sound like all Americans are like, how can life be made as hard as possible for us? I know.
Some of them did that.
Anyone you know personally?
Well, ones with power and money.
Well, pretty much. Well, yeah, I know what an HMO is because I actually spent about 5 or 6 years working in healthcare, and I spent a few years working in managed mental health care too.
Does that mean you were mental?
It means I managed mental. I mean, I didn't personally. I mostly did administrative stuff, but you know what I mean.
You people are crazy.
Not crazy. Although I do have to say, I mean, I won't say which healthcare administration that I worked for, but
Mitt Romney.
Oh, Mitt Romney.
Yes, you do.
No, if you're in one of those moods where you're just gonna say random shit.
I don't know. It depends on what would amuse the audience.
I think that would not amuse the audience, and that would lead to me turning off the episode. Just saying.
I think the episode disappearing halfway through would really amuse the audience.
Yeah. So there you go. Don't do that.
So HMO, I don't know anything about HMOs because I have civilized healthcare, so you're going to have to explain this to me and I'm going to be snarky.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, these days now you have, like, better plans. It's kind of like the lowest plan you can buy. Usually it's the cheapest, but it means it's, like, you know, the worst standard of care. Like, something like, you know, you can go to, if you need to go to an urgent care facility, you have to go to one that's in-network. Otherwise, it's not covered at all. You have to pay out-of-pocket for everything. If you need a specialist, it has to be an in-network specialist with, you know, hospital privileges at an in-network facility where you have to pay everything, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, it's definitely not the worst in the world, but it's certainly not the best either. I don't know if I told the story before, but when I was working for a while, I worked in the appeals department. So basically, if you're the plan that we were administrating, if we were not able to certify based on the information that was sent in, or based on the requirements from people's insurance plans, something would get denied, and then they would go to my department to try to appeal that decision, and get the care or treatment, or have something be covered, or something like that. Oh, by the way, guys. If you hear ticking and squirming and horrible things in the background, that's our heater. So, there you go. But, a transplant coordinator was in a meeting, and so my boss told me, hey, you know, I'm going to put you on the transplant call queue, so if any calls come in, you know, just answer them while the transplant coordinator's in the meeting. She'll be out soon. And then just take a message or, you know, whatever. So, you know, the phone was pretty dead, which is good for me, because it was basically like an hour of just, you know, sitting there and looking off into space, not having to worry about being on the phones. And then I got a call from a patient who was trying to reach his care manager, and she was not available. So he was trying to reach the transplant coordinator, and the thing was that he had cancer, and he was trying to get a bone marrow transplant approved. And it was really difficult because he was having some relatives from India come in to get tested to see if they were a good match. And so he was trying to coordinate this, and he couldn't get in touch with his case manager, I think because she was on the phone. And so he was getting pretty frustrated. And so by the time, you know, he got me, and I told him that the transplant coordinator, you know, she was in the meeting, but, you know, she'd be done soon. I could have her, you know, just give her a call back. And he got really upset. And he said, I can't get the case manager to call me back. I said, well, your notes are locked. She's in your notes right now, so she might be on the phone with one of your doctors or stuff. And then finally, just all of a sudden, he says, you know what? You have been so nice and so kind, but I'm going to die anyway. There is no use in any of this. I've just been fooling myself. This is all just nothing. I'm going to die, and I have to accept this. And I said, no, sir. I mean, I'm telling you, she's in a meeting. I can see the office where she is. She'll be out in like 20 minutes. Please just let me get your information, and I can have her give you a call back. And he goes, no, you are so lovely and so kind, but it's inevitable. I'm just going to stop all this now. I'm going to die anyway, and I can't fight it anymore. And he hung up, and I was just kind of like, and I had to take like a little 15-minute break and walk around the building. And I never found out what happened, you know, if he did end up getting the transplant or not, but I gave his contact information to the you know, the transplant coordinator when she got off the meeting.
You see, that's just fucking crazy.
Well, I mean, at that time, that kind of transplant was an experimental procedure, which was why, by the rules that his health plan laid down, we had to review the clinical information in the way that, you know, we did.
It was fucking crazy.
Well.
Crazy.
I see.
Yes. No, well, maybe you don't see, but fucking crazy. Our version is not perfect, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen. I used to hope not. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, it was like that happened. Like, I remember once, I was on like late shift, which meant came in like 2 hours later and stayed 2 hours later, you know, for the, you know, folks on the West Coast. And usually the only people that called at that time of the night were doctors calling in to give clinical information. We had doctors that were, you know, stayed late. And I got this, I'm pretty sure that I've told this story before on Lesbian Talk. But I got a call from a child's mother, and the child had, I think, recurrent neoblastoma of the spinal cord for a stem cell transplant. And the problem was that neither the child's doctor nor the treating facility had sent any clinical information whatsoever. So the treatment was automatically denied. And the mother was very upset, and I tried to tell her, you know, really, all we need is for your doctor to provide clinical information. You know what? If you want to call him right now, I'm sitting next to a doctor who can take that information and he can certify this tonight. But she was so upset by that point. She wasn't hearing anything that I was saying, and she put the child on the phone, and I got to speak to the patient, and who was like, my mom says that you should do things and stuff. Okay, bye. And that was kind of a harrowing experience. And I heard from the doctor that eventually his doctor did call in, and we were able to get that certified, but,
Good. Good. Well, enough horror. Let's move on to something a bit lighter with a couple of slasher movies.
So enough horror, it's time for horror?
Yeah.
I see.
Because, one of the presents that Omega gave me was a DVD set of the first two Silent Night, Deadly Night movies, which I'd never seen before. I'd seen Brad's reviews of them. I know, amazingly, early 80s slash movies I had not seen. I hang my head in shame.
Ouch, you're hanging it in shame on my shoulder.
And, yeah, I'd never seen it before.
They were at Walmart. It was $5.
Which was really confusing.
Extra present.
Because I was led to believe that Walmart tends to not stock movies that are NC-17. But the first one of these it appeared to be NC-17.
And then they had another one, which was either the third or an unofficial reboot of the second. We're not really sure.
According to someone who knows much more about this than I do, Mr. Josh Hadley,
dun, dun, dun.
What we have, the other one there, is the remake.
Oh.
And it's got very little to do with the original. And the third one actually is very different, and it's got Ricky coming back with half his head missing. He's played by Bill Moseley. So I really don't know what's going on there. Yeah, apparently there are 6 of these films. 5 of them under remake.
That's really odd.
There's like a psychic
like
magic
how
person.
far can you milk this concept?
Apparently, one of them features a psychic magic person teaming up with Ricky, and the guy who did the amazing performance in number 2 never reappears again.
But who's there left to kill? Mother Superior is dead.
People who are naughty.
Yeah, but I like the whole revenge angle of it. I could get behind him as long as the revenge thing was going on.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Silent Night, Deadly Night. The first one is about this guy who was a kid who gets told by his crazy grandfather that Santa Claus punishes you if you're naughty, and then the same night he sees his parents getting murdered and his mother getting sexually assaulted by this guy who dressed like Santa Claus.
He's just a criminal. He's not like a crazy person.
And he's just dressed like Santa Claus and decides that he wants to kill people randomly. And then he ends up in an orphanage when he gets even more horrible Santa-related things and punishment.
In an evil 70s orphanage.
And eventually he works in a toy shop, gets told to be Santa Claus. It's like everything happens to this guy, it's like they were deliberately trying to induce a psychotic break in him. And he decides to become Santa Claus and starts murdering people who are naughty, and then gets gunned down, and then his brother goes crazy too, though not as Santa Claus.
Yeah. So that kind of took the Christmas aspect out of it.
Yeah, but the second one replaced it with the guy's absolutely amazing performance.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
It was like a symphony of bad performance.
That's really poetic.
Yeah, according to Josh Hadley, the second film was originally meant to be a re-release of the first one. Then at some point they decided that they would add some stuff to it as well to make it like an intro and outro to it, and then they just kept going, and that's why the film is literally half made up of the original film, and then the second half of the movie. Well, the first half was meant to be Ricky, who was a surviving little brother, tell the story of the first film, even though bits he had nothing, he could not see or know anything about. And then the second half is Ricky going around killing people. And they did do one thing
it's basically a living version of the trope, as you know, Bob, from literature.
Yeah. Though they did do one thing very intelligent, because they had Ricky watching the first film which really indicates that all of his flashbacks that he's having are actually to the film version and not the real events, which suggests that Silent Night, Deadly Night exists as a feature film based on the true events in the world of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, and Ricky is so psychotic that he's taken the film that he watched as reality.
But what about his brother?
He obviously did have a brother, and that was based on his brother, but...
So he went on a crime spree and they made a movie about it.
Yeah, and he's using the film version of the crime spree to fill in the gaps in his knowledge, and he's sort of basing his memories on that. So I thought that was a little bit clever.
I thought that was a little bit confusing.
It got round the fact that they show flashbacks to the Mother Superior, who was evil in the first one, and then she is completely replaced by a different actor in the second one. The first one was like, she sounded Dutch, but she's actually French. The second one's just like, all-American nun, gonna kill you with a shotgun, beheaded, yeah, damn gays.
What?
That's what the Mother Superior was like.
All-American nun? That could totally be a show.
Yeehaw, them gays.
All-American nun. She loves Jesus, but not men. But she's not gay. All-American nun. Time to pray!
I have a nunsploitation movie about lesbian nuns.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I think the best nunsploitation film ever was Sister Act.
That's not a nunsploitation.
Nunsploitation.
That's a comedy film.
Nunsploitation.
A nunsploitation, it has to be an exploitation film to be a nunsploitation.
You can just add nuns and you can add exploitation after everything and seem clever on Twitter.
You can, but that doesn't mean that Sister Act is a nunsploitation.
Exploitation. Clever on Twitter.
Although in my episode of Radiodrome, apparently Mr. Hadley was very amused by the fact that I referred to Left Behind as Christian exploitation.
It is. You guys, we went to a Christian bookstore because I was dragged, and we went deep undercover recon, like masquerading as Christians.
We did this before. I always go in to try and get some DVDs. I came back with not one, but 2 Rapture movies I had never even heard of before. Yeah!
This can only end in tragedy.
And another film which has nothing to do with the Rapture, but it's by the same guys who did the Christian Paranormal Activity. I am not, in fact, talking about the Porn Ghost film, because as far as I know, that has not actually...
Yeah, did that, not end up getting made?
It's not appeared. I'm hoping that someday they get some money together, because I really want to see a Christian Paranormal Activity found footage type movie about a porn ghost.
The ghost is in the porn.
I think, yes. And I think the movie was called Harmless. And there's a trailer on YouTube and it looked amazing.
Haunted porn.
You brought the porn into your house. Now there's a demon.
Haunted porn. Sorry. But yeah, no, so there's a Christian bookstore in the shopping complex near me where there's Acme and Kohl's and a PetSmart and other stuff like that. So, of course, she's like, we have to go and buy more DVDs. And I was like, oh god. So we had to go, deep undercover. And, I, didn't swear the whole time we were there. And then we left. We're like, whoosh, we got through. Atheist powers activate. I was really worried they were going to quiz us and be like, so, buying something at the Christian bookstore, eh? Oh, yes, sir. Why, yes. We love films about Jesus. All right. Well, then what happened in Deuteronomy, section 3, chapter 4, verses 1 through 9? Someone got begat. No, you're wrong. Time for the dungeon. Ticket for our car being left in the shopping parking lot for years while we were, tortured and stuff.
That's quite a plot.
Thank you. I'm really good at this.
It
but that didn't happen.
Yeah, it definitely sounds likely.
Suffice it to say that didn't happen.
There were a bunch of films I wouldn't have minded getting, but like other shops, some around, they're just really expensive. It's like, I don't like spending a fuckload of money on the Christian movies because they're not very good. They tend to not be very good. They're not all bad.
Listen, if you love Jesus, you'll pay any price. I'm just saying.
And, I suppose I might be able to get a review out of some of them. We'll see. I have enough Christian movies on my review list already that I could do an entire season dedicated just to doing Rapture movies, but something tells me that would be a little bit unfair to the Christians.
Are there other people's religions that make bad movies too, or is it just Christians?
Yeah, there's an entire subsection.
Well, I mean, besides
there's the Mormon cinema. It's the Mormon cinema.
Well, they're kind of Christians. That doesn't really count.
Well, they usually treat themselves as separate because the type of guys who are really into Christian cinema in America who make rapture movies don't tend to see Mormons as Christians.
Christ is involved. You are a Christian. That's what that word means.
Jesus is a character in Islam, so you could have a Muslim movie featuring Jesus.
Yeah, but he's not the Lord and Savior in
He's
Islam.
really important, though.
He's a prophet.
And he didn't. I think he's also the son of God. Technically, he's just. And he never even he was sucked up into heaven before going put on the cross.
Sucked?
Yeah, it's like God went.
It'd be really great if it was like that scene from 3 by 3 Eyes, where the guy, "This is for my Lord and Master, Kyan Wang!" And then like the hand of Kyan Wang comes out and goes yoink and takes the artifact. That'd be really cool.
I would love to see some Hindu exploitation and Zoroastrian exploitation and.
Are there really like even? I mean, I know that what's his face. Freddie Mercury was Zoroastrian, but are there any anymore? Like around?
Yeah, they're not a big religion, but there's some left. There's not many.
So, okay, audience, this is your challenge now. You need to find us exploitation movies from other religions.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this because they obviously exist. What you need is
it has to be religious because obviously there's Bollywood. So
yeah, what you got is you got to have a film industry in a very religious area where they have like a predominant religion. That's how International Gorillas got made, and I'd love to see other films. I got a couple of Indian movies which might come under Hindu exploitation. I'm not entirely sure because I haven't really checked them through in great detail yet. One of them just seems to be primarily Indian nationalism exploitation, being really pissed off at Pakistan. We'll see, but
so if you've got one of those, write the show. But anyway, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
The first one had a hell of a lot of build-up and character development for 45 minutes of violence.
Yeah, I was thinking that we got this whole kid's whole life. And I'm not very familiar with slasher movie tropes, so I wasn't sure if this was normal or what.
That was very not normal.
It's abnormal.
For a slasher movie, yes. It was Abner Doubleday normal.
And nobody had 70s hair. Everyone had 80s hair.
Yeah, their ideas of what the 70s looked like was a bit skewed.
Well, then that shouldn't be, because it was only like a few years before that.
Yeah, they didn't have the budget, though, to make it look accurate.
We can't make it look like a few years ago, you guys.
Well, yeah, they'd have to get, like, the cars and the interior decorating and all.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be all that hard, because the 70s was, like literally 3 or 4 years before that.
Period settings...
Just go to someone's house that hadn't changed it,
Period settings add quite a bit of expense to a film.
Yeah, but I'm saying is, okay, to go from now to the Victorian era, yes. To go from now to, the 90s, not really. You could pretty much pull it off.
You'd be surprised. Like, all the props, you need to remove everything, all the types of phones you got, and we'll go get the older ones, like TVs, clothing. There's more than you'd expect. And most period films get it messed up as well, because if they make a movie set in 1976, they tend to fill the film with things from 1976 and 1975, which doesn't feel right, because everything is...
too new.
Yeah.
But if it was rich people who could afford that.
Yeah, if you have a budget, then you can do it. But
No, I mean, if your movie was about rich people who could afford to have the newest thing of 1976.
You could, but then you'd have to set it just in the rich person's house or whatever. The outside world, you're going to have people with, 1960s stuff. It's... The present is never entirely made up of the present. The present is always partly made up of the past.
That's quotable. You should put that in a t-shirt.
No, who wants a t-shirt with my words on it?
Everyone. Do you want a t-shirt with Hawkins' words on it? Write the show.
Depends on the words, really. Who would like a t-shirt with the words?
You always make up words, and that's not the way.
Put that on a t-shirt if you want.
Anyway.
Not seeing why.
Slashers. There was a really great part where he's like, naughty! And it was funny, and I laughed.
And so we got his head splat open with axes and stuff. There was a massive controversy over Silent Night, Deadly Night 1 when it came out first.
I don't remember that because I was 3.
People were bitching the hell about it, and, Siskel and whatever you call them, read out the names of the producers and the writer on their thing just so that people would publicly shame them.
Did that actually happen?
Did they do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I mean, did people then shame them?
Well, people were pissed off about it. They were I don't know if it got as far as talking about it in Congress, but it was going in that direction.
But see, here's the thing. So this was back in the 80s, right? Can you even imagine if the same thing had happened now? Evangelicals would never stop bitching.
I don't know.
The bitching.
There's been a lot of Christmas-themed slasher movies.
Yeah, but it just seems like this year, like, you get Sarah Palin like, it's gonna be the war on Christmas, even though she's Southern accent.
I'd be really happy because Santa Claus in Silent Night, Deadly Night was portrayed as white.
Dun, dun, dun.
But there's been a bunch of Christmas-themed slashers. I don't know why Silent Night, Deadly Night was picked on. There were several other ones made before, including Silent Night, Bloody Night, which was apparently one of the co-producers of that was one Mr. Lloyd Kaufman.
Mr. Lloyd Kaufman, I know him.
And Silent Night, Bloody Night it fell out of copyright, so anyone can own a copy now. And apparently they're trying to get a sequel done, and there's other films that there's like Black Christmas. And
also, all the quote-unquote Christmas music they used were Christmas songs that no one had ever heard of. And it made me wonder, is Christmas music not under public domain? Like, was there some reason they had to use weird-ass Christmas carols that no one had heard of?
Depends on the song, I'd imagine. Like the, what's the name of the song with the 5 gold, that one?
12 Days of Christmas.
Yeah, that song is in public domain except for the 5 golden rings part, because the original version had a different line there, and then it was altered to be 5 golden rings. So 5 golden rings is the only part that's copyrighted.
That doesn't sound like it could be true.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. You can look it up.
Hagen had to sing You Guys for Christmas.
Yeah, at Omega's house, there's like the Christmas... There's 2 meetings up. There's Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and on Christmas Day, which is the slightly more loose of the 2 get-togethers, less formal, everyone has to sing and do silly dances and things.
Well, no, about 15 or so years ago, my mom's cousin, who is a kindergarten teacher, decided that we should do the 12 Days of Christmas and divide up all the parts and go do the little dance with it. It became like a thing. So I tried to get, like, the 12 drummers drumming or 11 pipers fucking or whatever it is. So we only have to do it a few times. Because otherwise you have to do it every time and people are forgetting and it's just,
Yeah, we did the drummers, so we only had 1 line each.
Yeah, we sat with my cousin, who's a physics student.
We're going to try and get him on the show simply to talk about, physics and stuff, because that'd be cool. Be like, okay, Luke, explain reality. Go.
Well, let me just tell you. Well, this is a kid that, I remember when he was born. I looked after him when he was a toddler. And now he's like, yeah, so, helix and coiling in n dimensions. And he is so incredibly brilliant in, theoretical mathematics. And I never got past Algebra 2. I can't do double variable equations because I'm like, why solve for x? It'll just be something different tomorrow. So, this is pretty cool.
I always have a good time talking to him whenever I'm at, your family get-togethers. It's nice to have someone who's interested in some of the same subjects I'm interested in.
Well, I always have to remind you, don't talk about religion and politics with Americans. We hate it.
Except me and Luke love it.
Yeah, well.
And me and your Uncle Phil.
Yeah, but he loves arguing with people, so...
We don't argue. We're on the same side 90% of the time.
He's just always arguing politics. That's always how he is.
You see it. Her Uncle Phil taught Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff at history in high school, and he's from Philadelphia. So it's like, oh my God! Whenever I first met him, I told him, I realized you were not going to be James Avery, but I'm still disappointed.
Oh.
Yeah, he resembles more Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, a little bit, except really tall.
Yeah, and not dead.
No, that's true. Yeah, no, he taught high school at Overbrook for 30-40 years, and yeah, so he met Will Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, good guy.
Exactly. But yeah, so Silent Night, Deadly Night.
It's a time capsule of early 80s horror, though the first one was probably better made than most Halloween rip-offs. Most Halloween rip-offs are pretty bad. That one was better than most. The second one's just... They didn't give a fuck, and they got a guy who... That guy was astounding. I would love to see him in more things.
He probably, has a job. He's a veterinarian or something.
Yeah, there's, one of the leads in the movie, what do you call it? Troll 2, who's actually a dentist in Salt Lake City. They did a documentary about the fact that Troll 2 is considered one of the best terrible films of all time. So they're all talking about going, I was in Troll 2, check it out, this film's awful, hey!
Also, if you need teeth fixing, I'm a dentist, and you can give me a call.
Yeah, best worst movie. It was fascinating.
I think I have that on my instant queue, but I haven't watched it yet.
So we're about at the halfway mark.
Halfway. We don't have any Tony Goldmark for you because we're both in the same country, meaning everything else is on a different computer.
Yeah.
So you'll have to deal with some Nanowar. Nanowar! And you should go and support the band and watch stuff on the YouTube because they're, along with us, still currently battling it out over one of those right-snatching companies.
And we're back. Yeah, there's a company called Indie Music who mistakenly believe they own Nanowar, and they have been issuing takedown notices for every Lesbian Talk which has the music, and even the band are pissed off about, and if it doesn't stop Sharpish, I'm considering...
Saint Sharpish?
Maybe.
Okay.
Taking the story to Wired or something.
We should.
Oh, hi, Doctor. Just park the TARDIS over there. It'll be great fun. Don't worry about it.
You can't come here right now.
It's the fourth one. Nash loves you. See you later.
No, it's just my text. Probably being told about things and stuff. So, anyway. I think it's time for one of our special friends to join us, isn't it? That's the part where you talk.
I'm talking. Talking. Wow, Nakoi Kotzi has been sent. Talking.
So actually this would be my favorite part of the show, because here's where I talk to my lovely good friend public. Hey everybody, it's me, Giovanni. And I got a trivia fact for you. Because it was just Christmas, so many young boys and girls with a mammalian persuasion have been opening presents and getting toys. I thought, why not a toy trivia fact for this week?
Why not? Because it would be stupid.
This is why you're not famous yet. So anyway,
I'm not famous.
Did you know that in the mid-60s, Slumber Party Barbie came with a book called How to Lose Weight? It's true. One of the tips was, don't eat. Yeah, it's great for children. Just don't eat. See what happens. So lose weight. There you go.
I'm totally famous.
We totally are done that now.
I'm famous.
See, that's what I don't get about Barbie. I don't get why Barbie's so popular. Why would you want to look like her? She looks like a mammal. She has no claws at all. Only 2 legs, only 2 arms. No antenna. Disgusting.
I'm going to steal your claws and eat them, and then you can regrow it.
That's so not how that works.
It does actually. Some types of lobsters, you remove them from the ocean and you remove one claw, and then you throw the lobster back, and then a year later it grows.
No, that doesn't happen. What happens is I grow a chainsaw in place, and then I'll cut your head off.
You'd have to get out of the water and reach my neck, Shorty.
I'm sitting right next to you. So anyway...
Shorty!
So anyway, my adoring public, it's been a great Christmas, great Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, and in case there's something... Oh yeah, Yule and Festivus and...
Saturnalia,
and Boxing Day. That sounds great. You just go watch people get the shit beat out of them on the street.
And Solstice.
I said Solstice.
Did you?
Yes, and Yule too. And a Happy New Year to everyone.
And Sprig Bomb.
He ran away.
Still, he forgot Sprig Bomb.
Everyone forgets Sprig Bomb, because Sprig Bomb doesn't count.
You know, on the off chance that I did not invent Sprig Bomb, you've just upset someone.
Probably. If you've been upset by Sprig Bomb, write the show.
Not upset by Sprig Bomb, upset by you deciding that Sprig Bomb doesn't count.
So anyway, it's time for one of our other features, One Time at the Store. So if you are just listening to us for the very first time, I have spent the last nearly 10 years working for a large chain bookstore, and I've pretty much been through it all. This has been my 10th Christmas, and God, am I tired. So I decided to share some pretty good stuff that I've been hearing at the store. And working right around Christmas, right after Christmas, it's crazy. You just get everyone in. People are desperate, and people are stupid, or people just don't try. So I got this one father and his daughter, and she was like 12ish or so. And he came over to me and he said, "She's like done reading everything in kids. What's next? Is there like a young adult section?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, over here." And so I took them to teen. And I said to her, "So what do you want to read about?" She's like, "Well, I like, like cool stuff, exciting stuff, blah, blah, blah." So I was showing her, some of the fantasy authors, because we have a lot of them in teen now. Like, "Oh, this person sells really well. If you like this, you'll like this." And the father says, "Well, what about, like, mysteries?" And fortunately, in my store, the mystery section is right next to teen. And I said, well, mysteries right here. I mean, what do you like about it? Do you like kind of like the formulaic British mysteries? You know, do you like thrillers? And then the father looks at me and says, well, don't you have any of the new Sherlock Holmes stories? I said, what do you mean? And he said, you know, like from the show Sherlock, like those stories. And I said, well, sir, those stories are based on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's original stories. And we have them. They're right here. We have, many collections of them. He's like, no, but, like the new ones, with Benedict Cumberbatch in it. And I was like, no, those are the original stories. They're just, updated for now.
Pretty sure someone will adapt the Sherlock TV episodes into book form. Basically, it's like the original stories just set in the modern day. Someone will do that at some point.
Oh yeah, well, like novelization, or even just like now the Downton Abbey scripts are being published in book form. But I just, no matter how hard I tried, I could not convince him that the show is based on the original stories. And then I had a woman who, she was actually pretty nice. I feel kind of bad about it. That she was looking for juvie chapter books for her daughter's friend for birthday. And she said, now I don't know what to get because her mother's a teacher and her father's a principal, so she's probably got, like, all the educational books. So we were going through and I was recommending some stuff. And she goes, I don't know. They know everything. They're so intelligent, And she motioned over to where we have the juvie, hardcover picture book. She said, well, whenever they give my daughter's books, they're always one that have won the Nobel Prize. And she motioned towards where we have the Caldecott Award books. And I laughed. And I think she thought that I was laughing, in agreement. She's like, I know, right? And I was like, oh dear heart. Oh, you think the Caldecott Award and the Nobel Prize are the same thing. Oh dear.
I don't know what the Caldecott Award is.
The Caldecott Award is, it's an award for outstanding illustration.
I could draw, Steph.
Exactly. And the Newbery Award is for outstanding children's literature. I just thought it was funny, like the idea that not the writer, not the author or the illustrator would win the Nobel Prize. The book itself would, like, not even Daniel...
I'm a really good book.
Yeah, like not even like Daniel Radcliffe, but like Harry Potter himself would be accepting the award, the Nobel Prize for his adventures.
Hello. This is using the Page Master, it's like that.
Why are you using the Muppet voice for Harry Potter?
Because he's not real.
Isn't he English?
Sad potato.
Oh my god.
Guess what, audience? We were in danger of a jacket explosion. Boom.
I don't even know what's wrong with you, so...
In-joke between us.
Wah, 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 wah. So we went to the mall yesterday, and we found the most amazing store.
You had an unnecessarily large mall in King of Prussia,
it's
PA.
It's not unnecessarily large. It's always been large. It's been there for like 1 billion years.
You guys in America, you're like, let's just put it the size of a small village and, make it all a shopping center.
So, we were going to go see
If you remove the crap shops, then you'll have enough space for all the shops you need, and then that's it. It'll be a nice size.
I see. I'll get right on that.
Good.
So we were going to the movies, and we wanted to kill some time. We wanted to get dinner at the food court, so we went to the mall. And they have this new video game store that I'd never seen before. And, like, it was 100% retro. It went full retro.
This thing, Justin Giuario, you would...
oh my god, yeah, Justin would go crazy.
You would spend many types of bodily fluids all over the walls.
Like, I really would want to see Spoonie, Justin, and Angry Video Game Nerd film an episode in that shop, because they would just, and I had this one in 1991 and things, and it would just be amazing.
Ironically, Angry Video Game Nerd doesn't much care for gaming.
Really?
Yeah, he's actually more into films, and Angry Video Game Nerd was just a character he invented just for a one-off video, but it got really popular, so he kept going with it, and people send him the games. Holy
typecasting, Batman.
Yeah, pretty much.
But they had the Atari 2600. They had
for sale.
They had they had the Invision. They had, like, Sega CD, like, they had a Virtual Boy, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, although that one was... They have a little museum thing where they have as many, like, old consoles as they could.
In, like, a timeline?
Yeah, and with the year it came out, where they have, starting off with the Atari and then ending up with the... I think it ends up with the GameCube, but all the newer consoles are on the walls and stuff, and they're selling the Retro Master, which is this...
And I'll put up a picture while, in the visuals for this.
Which is a console which has been invented by someone, which runs several different types of retro games all at once, and just stick in your Nintendo or Sega or whatever.
Stick it in, press play.
Yeah, because one of the wonderful things about the console games, it's very difficult to kill a console game. Very, very difficult compared to a CD or something.
This is true.
So this was a genius idea, and I can't imagine that it's entirely 100% above board, even though they're selling it openly.
But really, who's going to challenge that?
It would probably cost more. It wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
But I would love one of those things. Until then, I just have to make use of the multiple Nintendo or Sega box sets you can buy for the Xbox.
Well, I have emulators, but
yeah, it was fascinating. They have lots of old action figures and stuff. They had a massive collection of G.I. Joe action figures and Marvel Comics ones. And
they had some video game art on display. They had
good paintings which you could buy
for $5. You could buy one of the old instruction manuals if you needed. They had games. They even had a rack of back when Nintendo used to basically every few months publish cheat codes in a book.
Yeah.
They had that, and it was just it was like traveling through childhood. Every single game I'd ever had, every single system, it was amazing. And they had some real rare stuff. If I wanted to drop $60 on it, I could have bought a copy of Final Fantasy VII.
They had a gold copy of Zelda for the NES. They had several copies of Bubsy the Bobcat and the Asterix game for you guys called it the Genesis, and in the UK we called it the Mega Drive. A lot of games, and I would have. It's really a bit sad that I can't. There's no way I could have bought it and taken it home.
Oh yeah, because of region locking.
Yeah, the only gaming system I'm aware of that I have, which does not have region locking, is a Nintendo DS. Not 3DS, just DS. So I came away with a DS version of Theme Park.
See, that annoys me so much, because at this point, these game systems are 20, 30 years old. I mean, just no one's making money off the Atari 2600 anymore, I guarantee you. Just, let people go crazy as far as regions, Just do whatever the hell you want.
That's why I wish they'd release, if they release an Xbox disc of all the Atari 2600 games, they could probably fit them all on the disc.
You could, yeah.
So, why not?
You know what I want? I want a decent emulator for Virtual Boy. Because I had a Virtual Boy. I saved up and I got one, and I was so happy. And I had Mario Tennis, I had some kind of shoot-'em-up game, and I had what is, I think, still one of the best games in the franchise, Super Wario World. And I would give anything to be able to play Super Wario World on an emulator. Now, I played my Virtual Boy with my glasses on, so I think that's how I avoided, major retinal damage.
Well, plus you had eye surgery before that, so I think you were cured. It was like getting cowpox, so you were immune to smallpox.
That doesn't really work that way. I had eye surgery when I was, 3.
Yeah, but it made you immune to eye damage.
That's really not how that works.
Oh.
But, I mean, seriously, I would love to... I would love to bring any video game reviewer or any retro games fan to this place.
Yeah, especially Justin.
And it wasn't all that big, either. They just made good use of space, and it had everything. And I looked around, and a lot of them were just the cartridges without the cases, stacked in, vague alphabetical order. And I thought to myself, these were the accumulated not millions, but the accumulated hundreds of things that kids begged for, please mom, please get a new video game, or that you saved up your paper money or your allowance for, or that you opened gleefully that one Christmas morning, oh my gosh, the Ninja Turtle game, oh my gosh, thank you, Santa Claus. And it was just so interesting to see all of this, what once was, what made so many kids like us so happy, sitting here on shelves. And it was so great to know that even though the two clerks looked like they were about 10 years younger than us, that there was a place like this where people are like, yeah, this stuff is old and it's worth pretty much nothing except to people who care about it, so we're going to devote the whole goddamn store to this stuff.
It's basically a video game antique shop.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And I was very impressed. I'm sure someone who knows more about video games would be even more impressed.
Yeah, so if you're in the area, if you ever are in King of Prussia area,
So, or even just in the broader, Philadelphia area, you can find King of Prussia not too hard.
it's in the court. So do try to check it out. I forget what the place is called, but I'll remember by the time I edit this, and I'll put it up on the thing.
Find the escalator near the food court. It's there.
Yeah, that one. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Although they did not have my first video game, which was Star Command, which was a Radio Shack exclusive LCD game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that game may well be lost to time.
There's a level of it being like done as a Let's Play. Okay, no one talks, but on YouTube I was able to find it.
You know what the earliest video game ever was?
I don't know.
If I remember correctly, it was done in World War II, roughly, where they used the sort of little oscilloscope type things to make the lines and all?
Yeah.
They used that in order to create a game.
Huh.
I think it was a couple of scientists using scientific equipment and invented a game out of it.
Wow. I love Star Command. Yeah. You know what else I played? I played Mr. Cool on Atari because a friend of mine had an Atari.
Mr. Cool?
Yeah. You were basically on this little pyramid and you were an ice cube and you had to hop and freeze all the things before heat comets came and killed you.
I didn't play that one.
I just realized a few years ago, about a year or two ago, that I actually used to do Let's Plays when I was in elementary school. Because I had, little Tiger handhelds. So, one time, because I could beat the Ninja Turtle one, really quickly, I had a tape cassette recorder. So I put and I was always making these blank tapes, I was taking blank tapes and, making, pretend radio shows and pretend, funny commercials and stuff. Kind of like what I'm still doing on Blip. But... But so, I found this old tape, a while ago, and I threw it away, and I just remembered, a while back, whoa, because I would press record, and I would say, this is this game, and here are the enemies in the order they defeated. I think I will start with Donatello. And then I had the sound turn all the way up, so, you'd see the noise, the strikes, and this was the one that kind of talks, so it would be like, boom, 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 hey, radical, boom, 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 totally awesome.
It's just one of these video games, the little handheld things where you didn't actually have any movement in the characters, but you had a still image, and then it was another still image. And all.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Wow.
And so I realized, I think it was last summer or something, I was wow, I used to do Let's Plays.
About
on
15,
cassette tape.
About 15 years early. Or
Whoa.
20 years early.
I'm such a hipster. I was doing it before it was cool. I was doing it before the internet.
I was terrible at those old handheld games. I was really fucking bad at them.
That was pretty good.
These are the handheld games before the Game Boy.
Back in the day,
we didn't have any pictures. We just had a still picture and then another still picture, but it didn't even pixelate.
It was an LCD. I mean, if you've never, I'll Google it and I'll see if I can throw up some pictures of it. But yeah, Google Tiger handheld and on a Google image search and
Angry Video Game Nerd did an episode about them.
Really?
Yes, he did.
I'd watch that.
We can watch some AVGN if you'd like.
Big blue radical. And I got bit hard. I love video games, and I was so desperate for a Nintendo. And my parents were like, we don't know about this stuff.
Why are your parents both a penguin?
I don't know. There was them being critical and skeptical. But my first console, after basically, playing through other people, hey, you want to go over to your house? We could play Super Nintendo? I guess so. Yeah. My parents said if I got good grades, I could have, I could get a Sega Genesis, and they bought it at Costco. Well, BJ's, what was the equivalent of Costco, and it came packaged with Sonic 2 and Echo 1. And
so as Genesis / Mega Drive bundles go, that's not bad.
Yeah, I love Sonic 2. Echo the Dolphin was a pretty game, and I loved the soundtrack, but that was hard as shit.
Yeah.
And you know what? That started my dislike of video game realism. And I have this issue with games sometimes. I played Silent Hill 2. Okay, well, the first hour and a half. Because everyone was like, oh my gosh, Silent Hill 2 is so great, and it's so scary, play in the dark. I'm like, alright, fine. So I pick up a copy of this, and I'm wandering around in the fog, and then there was these, mutated things attacking me, and let me just say, I play video games for the feeling of power and escapism. So if there's crawling Evil Dead things, I want ninja death moves, or magical fireball powers, or really big guns, or ridiculously large, like, swords. But all I had was, like, a flashlight and like, a twatting stick.
And you were playing Sean Bean, so naturally you were going to get killed.
Pretty much. So that was the thing with Echo. Like, dolphins can hold their breath for up to and exceeding, I think, a half hour to an hour.
So why are you complaining about video game realism if it wasn't if it was
no,
unnecessarily hard?
It was like mimicking realism.
It was unrealistically hard.
And you had to like breathe every 2 seconds, and the amount of time that I spent thumping fish to refresh my health. Then that goddamn octopus.
I found it pointlessly difficult, but Sonic 2 was very good.
I like Sonic 2. Like, there was this other game, and I forget what it was called. I think it was one of the Harvest Moon in series, but I rented it, and I couldn't get past the first level. I mean, okay, I was drinking at the time, but the first dungeon I kept getting dehydrated, because you had to, like, run through water to refill your water jugs, and there was weapon degradation, so any weapon you got broke after 3 times. So I finally said, fuck this. I'm trading this in for Tekken.
And yesterday, I was the only one of us who picked up a game. I picked up a copy of Theme Park for the Nintendo DS, because they're multi-region. And Theme Park, for anyone who doesn't know, is at least 15 years old. I'm guessing probably closer to 20. And it was for the PC. It came out in the wake of like SimCity 2000, and it was about a theme park. So it was basically a very old version of prototype almost of Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it was I think it was made by Bullfrog, Peter Molyneux's company, and it was good then, and I've been playing it this afternoon, and because it was such an old PC game and so basic by today's standards, it seems to have ported quite well to DS without loss of very much at all, so that was nice.
Well, you like sim games.
Sim games.
I don't, because for Christmas one year, my sister and I was, again, a little kid. This was when Sim Earth first came out. And it had, like, the half toucan, half lizard thing on the cover. Like, oh, my parents like, look, you can make things evolve, and you can guide the whole Earth. And basically, Sim Earth should have been called Fuck You Nukes. Because nothing evolved, nothing grew, and I finally got annoyed and nuked everything. And that's how every single game of Sim Earth went until I got sick of it.
Didn't play Sim Earth.
Fuck you, nukes!
I played.
I'll teach you to evolve. Nuke.
I played Sim Zoo and Theme Hospital and Mall Tycoon and a bunch of other ones. I found this one about restaurant and stuff.
You just really want to administrate.
Not really.
We should get you a business degree so you can be a business administrator. Be like,
no. I found some of them fun, but most of them I didn't find massively fun. I wouldn't mind playing Spore at some point. That would be interesting, but
I heard that was bad. Like, it's supposed to be all that, and then it wasn't.
Civilization's fun. Especially if you,
ridiculously huge swords, ninja death blows, magical fireballs.
This is my trick for doing badass at Civilization. Make sure there's a couple of oceans on your map. Get your men as quickly as you can onto another island, as in create a colony as quickly as you can. Create the colony in the center of the other island if you can, and then build up both colonies, both areas as much as you can, which means that you basically get a stranglehold on 2 islands, and you can cripple, if you do it quick enough, three enemy races at the same time. They can all become like vassal states. Because if you put it right between the other 2 and you sort of expand outwards, take what would usually have been their land, they'll still exist, but on the corner, and they'll become your vassal states. So it's like, yeah, there's only 3 people to fight instead of 6.
See, what I do is I just stand in a line with the enemy standing in a line, and then we take turns hitting each other, the civilized way.
Yeah, use your Final Fantasy style combat.
I like JRPGs, and I'm tired of being ashamed of it.
Civilization uses turn-based combat.
Well, good, because I can't. People are thwapping me with their thwapping sticks, and I need time to charge up my ninja death blows.
Civilization, everything is done turn by turn.
Good.
It's like turn by turn Sim Empire.
Yeah, and it's terrible too because I love Western style RPGs too. Like, I want to get a used copy of Skyrim, and you convinced me to buy Fable 3 because it was $5, and
Fable is
for about $5 I bought Dragon Age. And I want to be a dwarf and run around in dwarf armor, and I want to cleave things. But I want everyone to stand still while I do it, and then I'll stand still, and they can thwap me with their thwapping stick. And,
Fable's fun. It's not perfect, it's far from perfect, but it's fun.
Yeah. So, do you know what time it is, honey?
Time to,
Listen to the heating tick.
It's time that words existed.
It is! It's time for the dictionary. My dear old dictionary. Alright, honey. What page should I turn to? Hey, wait a minute. Why don't I get to pick this time? Because now you can hold the dictionary.
Okay.
It's my turn. I want page 400.
Okay, 1 or 2?
2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Colin Baker. The greatest of the doctors.
You're lying. Colin Baker's not in the dictionary.
Well, it's very similar. Majesty.
Well, hey, we can talk about vampire.
Yeah, because there's impressive
using majesty,
stateliness,
bitch.
sovereign power, the title used speaking of the sovereign or the sovereign's wife or widow, his or her or your majesty.
Damn right. So, stop making noise. So, probably the next episode will be recorded at MagFest if we have time. We'll see who's around if they want to hang out and be honorary lesbians.
So it may well be more people than just us two.
I know, right? And then next week...
Next time we should have a big announcement.
Announcement!
And it's even bigger than that time when Omega fought a polar bear.
When did I fight a polar bear?
Well, you thought it was a polar bear. It was actually Owen Citizen.
She actually was drunk watching the Coke Bears on TV, so...
Omega fought them and won.
That's not even what happened.
She fought the bears and the bears lost. She fought the bears and the bears lost.
You're peaking the audio. Sins. So yeah, we're going to have a super huge awesome announcement, and it's probably going to be about us starting our own show called American Nun. American Nun!
Or you can cock this.
You can totally cock this. So anyway, this has been episode 41 of Lesbian Talk.